Welcome back to Green is Good. We've got Charisse McAuliffe on the line today from Colorado, and Charisse has a great history. She graduated from the College of Charleston in South Carolina and was in the media so much of her professional life, was also one of the 40 business leaders under 40 in 2008 in the Northern Colorado Business Report, and one of the hottest CEOs of cool green companies. And we are honored to have Charisse on the phone today. Charisse, welcome to Green is Good.
Thank you, John. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, so tell us, wait a second now. You're a very young woman still, and you have this wonderful, cool company that we're going to talk about in a little bit. But what was your inspiration? Were you green as a kid where you were growing up, and where did you grow up? How did this whole thing start? What were the seeds that began this whole green revolution in your own life?
Yeah, well, I actually didn't grow up in a very green household, to be honest with you. I grew up in an environment where, down south, in Atlanta, Georgia, actually. Okay. And, I think my family for a real long time and a lot of the people that I was surrounded with always kind of associated environmentalism with politics and kind of assumed that it meant, if you were stating that you were going to take care of the planet in a certain way, you were apparently, affiliating with a certain political party. And so it was not necessarily a welcome topic of conversation in and around my house. However, as I grew and as I started to become, more aware of the world and aware of the situation at hand, I was always a very strong-willed child and a strong-willed teenager, and was able to formulate my own opinions and decisions and things around this information. I say this because I think part of my upbringing has allowed me to better cater my message to an audience that may not have already been kind of on board with us with this concept and presented it in that way that allowed a wider audience, I guess, to listen to our message. And so it was really when, after I'd had my first daughter and when I was living and working in Ohio, actually at the time, on a big real estate project with my husband at the time, where we were building the first green-built condominium complex in this area of Columbus, Ohio. And I recognized early when my daughters were babies, the importance around. I think it started with natural foods and natural cleaning products, and just wanting to. Being, uber conscious of what they were putting in their mouths and whether, they were crawling on the floor, what kind of chemicals they were crawling on, and all these types of things that started opening up my own eyes to this. And then it was through this building project that I really recognized the difficulty in trying to find sustainable building materials at this day and age. This is back in 2003, I guess. And I kind of came to this aha moment that if we really wanted this trend to catch on, we really wanted people to do this with their lives and with their projects, we had to make it easier. That people were not going to take the amount of time and energy I took researching and finding and identifying the products that were going to go into this project. That we had to somehow make it simple. And the simpler we made it, and the easier we made it for people to make the right decisions, the more likely they would be to do that. And so I built Gen Green really with this whole notion of really trying to help make it easier for myself to live my life, and in turn make it easier for everybody to find the resources that they need to live in a more environmentally conscious lifestyle. And I take it back to kind of where I began. I presented it in this fashion that's like, these are the facts, these are the resources, these are the companies, and this is what they're doing. And it's up to you now to decide whether this is something that you want to pursue. I'm just presenting you with all the information that's available and that's out there, and presenting it in a very, kind of unbiased and factually driven manner.
So let's give the listeners the website so they could definitely. Your website is gengreenlife.com, GenGreenLife.com.
Correct.
And just as an overview, basically what you're doing is you're democratizing all the green information that's out there, and you're delivering that content to our listeners and our audience in every zip code that they exist here in the United States.
That's correct. Yeah, we have the largest database of green businesses and organizations in North America.
Wow.
We've got approximately 65,000 different companies in our system today that they encompass about 22 different industries of information. And it does. It feeds it up based on what we call our GeoIP, a geolocator that recognizes where the person's sitting at their computer. And it gives them all of these resources first closest to where they are, because localization and being able to identify resources locally is a huge component to living a green life.
Well, it's really cool because at the outset, Charisse, you're talking about the fact that where you grew up, talking about environmental issues, was painted almost with a political brush. It was like, okay, well, then I think I know all about your politics, but it was really when you became a mom, and that is really what helped you look at the environment from a global, more human and less political or totally non-political or apolitical perspective, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because it's like, we all want to be healthy. None of us want cancer, regardless of what political party you're in.
Good point.
We all want to. I've said this to my friends on both sides of the ticket. I say, my gosh, if we don't take care of this planet, then we're not going to have anywhere for you guys to argue with each other on.
Very good point.
and it's really not, it's not a political issue. It's a person issue, and it's a people, planet, animals, any living being. It's the whole thing has nothing to do. Unfortunately, it has to do with politics only because, when making mass changes and things like that happen, voting gets involved. But you know what? It's starting to change, You're starting to look at big corporations and groups, like Walmart, who have, really kind of come out of nowhere with these incredibly stringent rules and restrictions that they're imposing upon their product manufacturers, and it's going to be groups, I think, personally, like the Walmarts of the world, that are going to really help take the conversation that much more out of politics and start, pushing it through into the mainstream.
True, but it's entrepreneurs like you that see the opportunity and get it and jump in. Now, you jumped in and you launched this site when? Was it around 2006, or am I wrong on that date?
Yeah. Well, I started the company in December of 2006. Okay. The site launched in mid 2007.
Okay, great. And so, give us the trajectory. Where are you now? Like, how many listings did you have when you started, and how many eyeballs did you have a day then, and where are you now? And how is it evolving the way your vision was?
Well, it's evolved interestingly. I think I caught the wave early, as far as the just before it was everything everyone was talking about. I felt like 2008 was really a huge year for the environmental movement. Our Al Gore's movie came out. There was discussion on it everywhere, and so we were really on an upswing, and we started building our database. We hired researchers all over the United States to help assemble all of this information for us. And when we launched the first, we did it state by state, and it took us about 6 months to get all 50 states online and ready to go. And then we started filling it in with all of its data and information, and started with recycling, transportation, and food, kind of our three biggest topics. And I remember, we kind of hit a milestone when we had our 25,000th company in the summer of 2008. In August of 2008, we were at about 25,000, and we had established some really great, strong strategic relationships with Green America and with some other really great organizations out there who had membership bases. And we found some unique ways to help develop unique elements in and around our database, because a lot of people always say, Charisse, well, who says what is green? How do you say what is green? And my favorite answer is, what is green to me?
Right.
It might not be green to you, and it might not be green to, to your best friend. And it can be a very personal decision about, the level of environmental stewardship an individual is expecting out of a company, and whether or not they want to work with them. So what we try to do through our certification test, we have a 3-tier certification test that has a bronze, silver, and gold level to it, is just be transparent with the company's initiatives and the energies that they're putting into, whether they started not as a green business and they're converting their product lines and then changing over and they're getting involved, or they went running out of the gate in this format. We wanted to create a place that allowed them to be recognized for the efforts that they were making, and then allow you, the consumer, to make decisions around whether or not what this company is doing and is getting accomplished is important enough for you to support them.
Well, Charisse, we're going to take a little break and go to our sponsors, but when we come back, please, we're going to talk about Jen Green Life's future and how you're going to grow it in the years to come. And come on back to Green is Good.
If a little green is good, more is even better. Now, back to Green is Good with John Shigarian and Mike Brady.
Welcome back to Green is Good. We're so excited today. We've got Charisse McAuliffe on the line with us from Colorado, and she is the CEO of GreenIsGood.com, one of the best green websites out there. I've been on the site before I ever spoke to Charisse or before we ever asked her to come on the show. I was a user of the site, and I've passed it on to many other people, and I love your site. It's so great. So please explain to the listeners what can they expect if they go to the site and what is the experience? What is the feedback you've been getting the last couple of years?
Yeah. Well, a lot of people come to our site for different reasons. We have obviously our number one reason is our directory, our database. So people are coming, they may be looking to find out if there's a farmer's market in the city that they're visiting over the weekend, or they may be trying to find a solar panel company in their in the city their mother lives, so that they can help her have a bid come out and put solar panels on her building, or the wide variety of reasons people come and look through our directory to find resources. But people can also come to our site to look at our job board, or to look at our event calendar. We have a national event calendar that people can come and find ways of getting involved. We have a blog that actually is a conglomeration of writings from different bloggers that have been writing for us for some time now, that have great, interesting perspective on the environmental world. And we've got other articles and news pieces that people also will come to and read from. And I think it's interesting, because some people, really, with us, you're not always coming and, going to your yellow pages or whatever it may be on any given day to try to find, a certain resource. And so we've been constantly trying to find ways of evolving the site and continue to draw interest on a daily level, so people keep wanting to come back, keep wanting to hear more information or learn more from what it is that we're saying. So,
gotcha. And how many people on a monthly basis are on your site?
We are running around, we've got between 75,000 and 85,000 visitors a month right now.
That's
on
huge.
Our site. Yeah.
So so really, when you go back to, Mike and I always talk about sustainability on this show, and the three basic cores of people, planet, and profits. So you're helping connect people with different business enterprises that can help green our world and make it a nicer place to live. You're helping save the planet. You're connecting the people with all those solutions, and profit. Is your company where you want it to be in terms of the evolution as a business enterprise?
Oh, we're getting there. We were lucky enough. I kind of seed funded the company myself and established it all myself, and then we were lucky to bring what I like to call a smart investor on board. About a year and a half ago, who really believed in the mission and really believed in what it was that we were doing, and really cared and wanted to see the success of our concept, and has been a tremendous support of ours all along this way as we make our way to a sustainable business, which we anticipate doing here in the relatively near future, especially with our new announcement that we just had.
Which, go ahead, tell our listeners about your new announcement. I know it just happened today. It's very exciting, and tell them what the announcement is and what it means for the future of GreenIsGood.com.
Yep. Well, so we have announced today that we are merging Jen Green with a company called Third Well Mobile that's based in Vancouver. And Third Well Mobile, actually, I used to look at them as competition, and vice versa. They're based in Canada. They had a strong, Canadian database. They had expanded into the U.S., still were early, But they were focused on mobile, and we had created an iPhone application that was about to come out in the iPhone store, and they had an iPhone application as well. And our iPhone applications were going to compete with each other in the App Store. And I sat down and I met with those guys actually at a conference in Boulder over the summer, and we just hit it off. And it was interesting because in a very short period of time, we recognized how much we didn't want to compete with each other and how much farther we could get if we could collaborate and work together and not split our audiences up, but actually assimilate them into one. And that began our radical collaboration with Third Whale Mobile that has now led to the ultimate merger of our two companies. We now are going to be able to offer a host of options in the mobile world, and it's leading to Third Whale Mobile had been known. They had created mobile applications for Greenpeace, for 350.org, and a lot of they had always focused on sustainably driven messaging and companies around that, and they bring a tremendous amount of experience to this mobile space. And we all know this is the direction our lives are going, and being able to really be at the forefront of the mobile world was important to me as a company. And we, in addition to our iPhone application, Find Green, that is live today, we will be developing a multiple amount of other really cool, fun, great green applications for both iPhone, BlackBerry, and Google Android phones. They have a mobile couponing software that they have built that we will now be adopting into our system and be able to help people save money as they're living sustainably, and do it in a unique fashion that allows them to have coupons on their mobile smartphones without ever having to print them off. And it's an exciting day today because the potential is huge. We've Gen Green, the company is going to stay. Gen Green is actually we're going to change the name just slightly to Gen Green Digital Media, which will then, GenGreenLife.com is one of our key products of Gen Green Digital Media. And we will maintain our headquarters here in Fort Collins, Colorado. Our mobile division will stay operating in Vancouver under the leadership of Boyd Cohen, who is the current CEO of Third Whale. I will stay the CEO of the new conglomerated company. And we are just ready to rock it out.
So coupons. So Mike and I, we're on Gen Green Life, and we're on the mobile app that you've created with your new merger and partnership. Explain what kind of coupon. Mike and I are always, everyone wants a bargain. Yeah. Mike and I are, so explain a green coupon that we can get from GenGreenLife.com.
Yeah. Well, in the coming weeks, and we'll be sending announcements out around the launch of the coupon program, we will have the ability for companies not only to be able to issue and acquire coupons for individual stores, so everything from your mom and pop style, like Green Boutique on the corner, will be able to issue, 10-15% off, your purchase between this date and this date. So they're going to be able to access and publicize coupons that you'll be able to use, as well as we have been making arrangements with large manufacturers for products that may be able to get picked up everywhere, so that you could come in and assign, say, I want to, pick up my 7th generation dishwashing detergent, and I might get my, Waterpik EcoFlow shower head, and you're clicking on these coupon buttons that are being saved into a little pocketbook, and then when you log on to your Gen Green account via your app, you click on your pocketbook, and up pops these coupons with their barcodes on them that are already saved. You've saved them while you were, kind of picking out all the coupons that you wanted as you went shopping that day at your local whatever, Target, Walmart. It doesn't matter where you were, Home Depot, the places that sell these types of things. And then you'll be able to actually use these manufacturing coupons as well. And so,
how do we use it when we go into our local supermarket or Walmart, or how do we use it then? Explain that, because this is fascinating to Mike and I. We're both sitting here and we're just in awe, frankly.
Well, it looks just like a coupon. So if you can imagine, the whole screen is taken up by the coupon, and the UPC barcode, which is like the universal tracking of all coupons. It's the way we universally track all products. Is visible right there on the phone screen, and so the cash register, the cashier, can scan it right then and there on their register. And I don't think a lot of people understand, when they take your coupons and they put them in their drawer, they're not going back and tallying them up at night.
Right.
The system's actually smart enough to have kept track of all the coupons that came into the system during the day, and then they receive their redemptions on the other end through the use of those. So it eliminates that kind of that paper trail that, oh my gosh, I forgot my stack of coupons on the table. As long as you have, and you don't even have had to have identified them earlier in the day, but I can just imagine as a user I might be, not as likely to sit there and scroll through a bunch of coupon options as I'm standing in the line at the store. I might do that ahead of time. That's just me. But you could do it either way, and then be able to access, coupons for products and things while you're still shopping. So,
wow,
pretty cool way.
So basically, you're helping encourage green behavior and green, in purchasing green products, and you're connecting people, encouraging their behavior, and helping them connect to the right products.
Right.
Wow.
Exactly. And
that's
trying
magic.
To save them some money at the same time.
So who needs Google?
I know.
I mean, not that they've done a bad job, but I mean, honestly, you've come up with this great business vision in this vertical, and it sounds amazing to us.
Yeah, it's nice because it's a vertical that really appreciates having it made simple for them. We've got such a loyal audience, and I think environmentally conscious people are loyal shoppers and they're loyal consumers, and they want to they want to be educated about what they're buying and who they're using and why they want to be using them, and so it's a great audience of service. They're appreciative. I got a comment on my site just the other day from a woman she was a mom, and she gave me this tip about this great Christmas presents, and she called herself. She said, "I just thought maybe some of my other fellow Gen Green addicts out there might appreciate to learn about this." And it was the first time I think I'd ever heard anybody call themselves an addict of what we had made, and I almost welled up with tears. It was one of those proud parent moments, and it felt really good, to know that people.
No kidding, you're changing the world.
Yeah.
Well, one of the cool things too is I listen to you talk here, and John and I we're just kind of shaking our heads. I mean, the way that you have been able to connect all of the dots here and take existing technology and old school behavior of clipping coupons and just being able, okay, let's marry the two, and how do we do this? But one other thing I did want to comment on that I think is just really wonderful, Charisse, when you're talking about when Third Whale, the Canadian company, was going after the apps, just like your company was, it strikes me as being typical, nurturing, motherly behavior to reach out and cooperate rather than compete. And I think that is one of the things that really helps your company stand separate and apart.
Collaborative. It's really true. I mean, most people, they see a competitor and they say, well, it's a zero-sum game. They're either going to die or we're going to die.
Somebody's going to get crushed.
Right.
But you reached out and say, hey, let's make 1 and 1 equal 5.
And we all win.
Everyone wins.
Yep.
All the consumers, the environment. What a model.
Yeah. I mean, collaboration is key, I think, with our movement. Learning how to work together, how we can help amplify each other's businesses, truly will come back, and we'll find our own businesses more amplified because of it. So.
And Charisse, Mike and I have become a huge fan of yours during the taping of the show, and we only have a couple minutes left. And obviously your success is based, you have a great team. We've read up on your team and everything like that. But Mike, I got to tell you something. I'm just going to tell our audience why Charisse really stands out from so many of the other entrepreneurs we've spoken with. On her website, there's a little bit of like a personal data on the person. And she says, I would invent, she has that for all of her people.
Right.
A machine that every time you put $1 in it, 10 would come out. Now, wouldn't you? I think we've got to get behind Charisse. She knows what she's doing.
Yeah, I want that machine, Charisse.
But Charisse, really, what you're doing is very similar. You've created a website and a platform that every time someone gets in it, the Earth is getting 10 times more out of it than what they're putting into it. So please leave our listeners with a couple of pearls of wisdom, both as an entrepreneur and as a green leader in today's green revolution, and then we're going to take it out from there.
Yeah. Well, I encourage everybody to be inventive and be creative with themselves. innovation, is one of the greatest gifts that we all gain when doors start closing and when things start to look kind of rough. And it's such an incredibly opportune time for everybody to start thinking about what they've been doing and how they can do it differently. And and also just really believing that anything is possible. And I'm not your typical I'm not your typical software application online CEO. I didn't graduate from Stanford. I don't have a computer science degree. I'm a woman. I'm a mom. And these are a couple of big things that typically keep me a little bit on the outside of what the norm is. And I hope that everybody just kind of can recognize within themselves that if they truly believe that they can help make something happen, and they go out into the world with this knowledge and this belief in themselves and their ability to get it done, that anything is possible. And I feel like I'm a bit of a true testament to that.
And anything is possible, and we urge all our listeners to go to Charisse's wonderful website, gengreenlife.com, and become part of the solutions that she provides. Charisse, you're not only a woman and a mom, you are living proof that green is good.